January 6, 2026 Township Advisory Meeting to order. First order of business is the election of officers. Do I have nomination for president?
I nominate Tricia Carrico.
I have a nomination. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Nomination of secretary. Do I have
Ryan Shaver.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Finally, finance chairman. Do I have a nomination for finance chairman?
Mike.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam President, I'll turn the meeting over to you.
All right, new business, we have resolutions. So Township Assistance Guidelines, Resolution 2026-01.
I can explain. So we have to have guidelines per the State Board of Accounts on all township assistance. So with, for those of you that might not understand, so we do provide assistance and there are guidelines. We are going on the 138% poverty level this year. So anyone that comes in to apply would have to follow into these guidelines. Everything is treated equally. So when, they come in, they do the application. If they have any questions, this is what I refer to. So if there's, and then if they want to argue it, then we can go down to the county commissioners and then this is what we use. So these are our standards. The only thing that's really changed in this is just the income guidelines. They went up maybe like $750 per category. So, and that is the national 2026.
These are the same guidelines established by the state though, aren't they? That we've,
They are, yes. We
Right.
follow all the same Indiana
right,
codes.
we're just adopting the state's
We just
guidelines.
adopt them. Mhm.
I make a motion. I'll second it.
All right. Motion passes. So we have another resolution, 2026-02, and this is Chairman of the Board of Assistants.
With this, whoever you choose to put in as this board of assistants, they are somebody that needs to be reliably coming in, looking at the monthly bank statements, the bank reconciliations, the monthly credit card statements, the receipts. This is our only checks and balances because I'm a one-girl office. So the state requests that we have a chair of the board to overwatch, to oversee what I am doing as the trustee. So it's our checks and balances. So you would need to appoint someone who's willing to come in here monthly and look at those things.
Who,
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say they'll have to.
so we just agree?
Well,
The
you'll
three of
have
us?
to appoint someone to do that.
Have we had that in the past? Chairman of the board.
I've not had anybody regularly coming in to check on those things. So what I've been doing is taking a lot of things into the chief and just saying, hey, will you stamp this approval? Because I just want to make sure that when the state board counts come in, that there's initials on things or that somebody has actually looked at my monthly bank reconciliations and my end of month statements because, I don't ever want there to be a discrepancy. And most of the time it's just saying, hey, Andy, I wrote these checks, this number to this number, and then he just verifies it, looks at the check balance and signs off on it. But it's really supposed to be done at a board level. I was thinking Ryan would be great because you come in a lot. But I can't appoint.
Well, Ryan, since you're here.
Ryan, I think you should. Mary, you should do it.
I hear a train coming.
Yeah, get off the tracks.
You guys aren't very helpful, are you? Okay.
All right. So, resolution 2026-02. I make a motion to appoint Ryan.
Second.
All those in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Ryan, you are it.
Thanks.
Anytime. right, we have resolution 2026-03, and this is proof of trustee bond.
That's just to show that I have my bond for the 60,000.
Okay. So, I make a motion to approve.
Second. So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, resolution 2026-04. This is general fund to rainy day fund transfer. So this is. So we are moving the unused funds of $4,839.86.
What was that figure again?
$4,839.86 to transfer to the general fund, the rainy day fund.
From the general fund to the rainy
Yep,
day
from the
fund,
general
yes.
fund to the rainy day fund, sorry, for the purpose of excess funds.
I make a motion.
A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That has it. Motion passes.
Is there a limit to the amount of dollars that can be transferred?
So you
If
can
you have-
use 10% of any of your excess funds
Okay.
on your budget. So our budget, if you'll see in there, was like 1,300,000.
Mhm.
I don't know the exact dollars, because
Right.
you have the paper. But with that, if I would have had 10% in my general fund in excess, we could have transferred that into our rainy day fund. That safeguards it from basically the state.
Right, what we discussed
Mhm.
earlier.
Taking it. I did really well in spending, we have brought our budget down more in line of what we spend.
Mhm.
So we're not putting a lot in there. That's all I
Right.
had left. When you look through your financials, you will see in the general fund that is all we had left.
Well, in yours, from the previous year, we reduced the township budget
Mhm.
and that basically reduced that excess.
Right. So we're staying more in the line of what our levies are, like what we're getting as our levies. We're staying more in line on our general budget to just spend the tax
Right.
monies of our levy. Because, which is good for us. Now, on the reverse of that, your next resolution is gonna be for the fire. So the same goes in turn with that. We're only allowed to take 5% of just the actual levy for fire. So the levy of fire was like $670,240. So we can take 5% of that. We did leave extra monies in there this year just because this was our first year of
Right.
kind of playing with the 24/7, bringing them in. And so there was some monies left in there, but we took the maximum of that 5% and put into the territory replacement fund.
All right, moving on to resolution 2026-05, which is what you just discussed. This is the fire territory fund to the fire equipment replacement fund transfer. The remaining balance in the fire territory fund, an unused and unencumbered balance of $51,685.11. And we want to transfer that amount of $32,539 from the fire territory fund to the special fire territory equipment fund for the purpose of excess funds.
I'll make a motion.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes.
So anyone that is interested, I do have some extra year-end financials here if you want to grab. I can kind of just briefly, would you like one more? Okay, I'll just explain, I'm sorry, just jumped right into the trustee report.
No.
Okay, so what I'll explain is on the top, you're gonna see month-end balance sheets. That is what our actual cash values are in banks, okay? So we ended the year with $2,496,549.88. That is our cash values in the bank. Okay, when we start flipping through, I know you as the board understand appropriations versus this. So as we're flipping through these pages, understand that our budgets are what we are appropriated to spend. So you'll see, like, we have one for rainy day, we have one for the township fund, we have one for fire, we have for our debts, we have for our township assistance. And so the goal of the board, when they are establishing their appropriated budget, is to keep it as close as to what we're gonna spend, because we don't wanna leave a lot of appropriated values on the table. If we do that, and the state sees that we're continually are asking for more than what we are spending, they can bring those monies back. I mean, they can just say, well, we're not gonna give you any more of that budget, spend what you have. So the rainy day fund is, that's probably like my last resort that I'm ever gonna spend money out of. That's kind of just my emergency fund. This year, we did use it to buy some radios that the men needed. We replaced 10 radios for the firemen. So we paid for 6 of them out of the rainy day fund, and then 4 of them came out of our equipment replacement fund. So our goal was I really watch the budget, and then come December, I'm going to the chief and saying, okay, here's what you have to spend. Like, we need to get this spent this year. If we do not spend it, then with this new capital improvement plan, we leave money on the table and we do not have that appropriated. The county can come in, they can take it, they can take to road structures. We do not want to give money back, because that is our taxpayers' money.
Right.
Okay, so we want to keep it within our community. So, as we had said, the township fund, if you flip there, we only had a remaining $4,839.86 of a $215,000 budget. And one good thing with our township budget this year is that we were able to bring in like some fire and EMS supplies in there. So we were able to spend monies out of there. We were able to buy some fire and EMS services. That alleviates a lot of pressure on just the fire general budget, because we're just not up where we need to be on our levies when it comes to financially supporting the fire. We're getting there. The maximum levy that we got last year has helped us considerable this year, but we're only ever gonna get like a 4% increase. So it's just very beneficial if I can take the general fund, because we're getting our local income taxes. And as long as we've established a resolution, which the board did, I can actually appropriate those lit monies, which is approximately like in the $60,000 range, and I can spend it back to fire. So I have chosen, instead of just sinking that into the township fund, which basically just oversees like the cemeteries, my salary, if I were to have a clerk, printing, anything, basically for the building, I decided to just go ahead and build those funds in there and give it back to the fire. So we did really good on spending that budget down. In our direct poor relief, we only spent $15,000 in our poor relief. Most of our poor relief this year, I did not do a percentage, but I would say when I did this back in October, there's like 86% of our township assistance goes to town, like people that live within the town, and then the other 14% goes out to the township.
Okay.
That's fine, but what we saw this year, what we saw being more what people needed this year was water bills went up. So a lot of people, I was explaining this to one of the other board members, is the town is very like, on the 10th, you make your payments. If you have not made it, there's not much lead time for the town, and that's understandable. That's how they run their business. So these people are coming in here scared and going, I need to get my town, I need to get my water bill paid. So then that pushes their electric bill, their gas bill. And then that's when this township assistant guideline comes in, because then I have to review to make sure that they're spending their monies properly, and that they're even in our income guidelines. So that has put a little bit more of the pressure on this year. to our budget with the assistant. So we are increasing that next year by $2,000. Then our fire building debt, we have $161,000 that we spent towards that. We are still looking at about 14 years to pay out on that. One thing that I will say that changed this year for our fire building debt, the DLGF did an audit of our fire building debt. In prior years, they would let us use the assessed values of the town. For some reason, they kicked it out. And they're like, the town has nothing to do with this building. We tried to dispute this at the state level. I had my financial advisor, writing letters and basically protesting it. Didn't you write it? And I mean, they were just saying, no, it's your debt. And I still question how it is 100% a township debt with our assessed values, because the town sits in the township. So, we've lost, I think over all of it, we're gonna lose about $360,000 of town's money to pay towards this debt. So it could put a little bit more of the burden on the township taxpayer. So, this is when people talk about this fire department, it is part of the territory. This is used for the territory, which is the township and the town. But this building is owned by township residents. It is not paid for by town. Don't ask me why.
That makes sense.
Does not make sense. And we just
It's in the
decided
town.
it's within the town, and the town is part of our township. Yep.
Who in the world would ever,
I don't know, because when they took this debt out, the town actually went and got an Okra grant. Was it
$500,000.
$500,000 to put towards the building? And they still, when we tried to show the proof that, look, they contributed to this building, and they were like, no, they were not being used to pay back that debt. So the debt falls on the township. And that was something just from the state level. They did an assessment, and that's what they decided. There was no disputing it with them. So, on the other hand, fire equipment debt, that is part of the territory debt. So, that does get paid back as a whole. The town and the township do pay back in their assessed values with that. And then for our for the fire protection general fund, and we had requested $736,350 for that budget. It will increase to $971,800 next year. I did have to request for some additional appropriations in December because we were falling low in our supplies and in our services and charges. I think it was $25,000, maybe $25,300 that we had requested, not knowing what our personal services were going to do. We weren't sure that we would use it all, with it being year end. A lot of times people use their vacations at that time of year. So we did not want to pull from our personal services to come down into those other funds. So with that being said, there was $51,362 that was left in the personal services, but we fell below, that still fell below like that 5%. So that is why we're able to, transfer some monies. So out of that $736,000, we've only left $51,685 on that budget. But I would still say that's a good cushion that we wanted to have when it came to the personnel services. And then as far as the equipment replacement fund, we had budgeted for $60,000. We did buy some equipment and some radios through that. So at the end of the year, we were left with $1,269. So when you look at this packet, the numbers on the sheets behind the front are not going to make sense to the front sheet because these are your cash values. Your landfill and your fire billing are your unappropriated funds, and that is what you guys use to make your capital improvement plans for. So I do know that Andy just got an approval. We were hoping to have a fire territory meeting. I don't know if Ryan's had any
Haven't had any luck
luck
getting
with
it
that,
gathered up.
but, they are looking to put locution through the whole fire department. And I think that was approximately, $84,000. So that was already built into our capital improvement plan. So we were just gonna basically bring it to the table, to the fire territory board, just to say, here's what we're doing, with it. So, but, I mean, it is actually part of the building, so I guess they don't really need their vote, so I don't know. But, the other thing that I would like maybe just a request from the trustee is, and I'm just looking at this more from a cost effective, is our plowing. We have noticed, that with the last few snowfalls, we haven't really been the priority for the plow company to get to us. And there have been days where we've got like 5-6 inches of snow out here. And I mean, emergency services don't stop just because we have snow. So we either have men out there that are shoveling the sidewalks, shoveling the front driveways. And when I just got our recent bill just for a month and a half of plowing, it was $900. So that was, it was expensive. And I'm like, we're not even in like the heat of the winter,
Kelly, who was it that plowed it?
Murphy's Landscape.
Isn't there somebody local that we can
We
get?
have tried locally to ask a few people, and they just already got their contracts out for the year.
So what about using the town? Well, are they not willing to possibly come in and plow while they're plowing, or is that a conflict of
that is
interest
not-
maybe, or?
I don't know. I mean, that would be maybe something that
Somebody's gotta ask that.
could be a discussion. But what I was gonna throw out there is, I mean, we did buy the new pickup truck, but we also have the brush truck, which, we had a roundtable discussion the other night. And I said, would it be more cost effective to just buy a plow and put on the brush truck, but have certain limitations on that plow? It's not used for personal uses. You're not taking this brush truck home to plow out your driveways. I mean, it is used solely for here. If you, and I was like, what's the average life on a plow? And they were like 20 years. I mean, easily you can get 20 years out of a plow. I'm like, well, right there, you paid for it. A plow is $8,000.
If you buy a new one.
If you buy, yeah.
Even if you buy a used one, you can get them for $1,000, $1,500.
No, you
for used.
can't. No, sir.
I just bought one.
No, I mean, they
And
are
it's
out there.
I'd like to know where you got it from. That's what I'm looking
Yeah.
for.
Are you? Yeah,
Yes,
I got a truck.
Yeah.
And we can talk later.
Okay.
There would be multiple uses for that as well, because we have a lot of long driveways
Mhm.
that we can't access in the winter sometimes. And to be able to take that brush with the manpower that we have now and run that in front of an ambulance or the rescue or our squad would be very helpful doing that.
Mhm.
But a new plow for that truck is roughly around $8,000 for a unimount setup, is roughly what that's gonna cost for that. And I only know that because I've been looking for new plows for my personal truck.
And I mean, I'm willing to put it out there. I mean, I've got an assistant chief who said that he would gladly put out there and just start looking at what the cost of a good used one to a new one is. And,
If you call Ferguson's, a used plow for them to put on there with a new cutting blade is around $4,000.
Okay.
But you gotta have that's putting the mount, the wiring harness, the
Well, we'd
joystick,
have to do all
that's
that.
everything.
Mhm.
And that's probably more for a Meyer versus a Western or a Boss,
Mhm.
just because of them being a little cheaper.
And this is not discrediting our plow landscape and the person that we're
I get it.
contracted with.
It's
This is
cost.
just the cost. I mean, we're looking at it, what is more cost effective for us as the taxpayers? And I mean, I know I would be telling my husband, why are we paying somebody to come plow our driveway when we could just be buying this ourselves, hooking it to our truck and.
And if we were top priority, that'd be a little different, but
Mhm.
we are not.
Yeah.
We're not.
I think the thing that when it kind of like went off on, in my head was like, we have a need for this, is the men had been out on a barn fire down here on New Road
Yeah, down at
all night
Struvel's.
long.
Struvel's.
All night. And we got a huge snowfall. And then I come in the next morning and, well, you were on that shift. They're exhausted. And here I have one of the men out here and they're snow plowing, just strip by strip.
Snowballing.
Yeah.
Blow
And
it.
I'm just like, you know, they shouldn't have to be doing this.
Right.
And then I've got, you know, two other guys, well, one's cleaning up all the, you know, bays in the trucks, and then another one's out just shoveling what he can, you know, on the walkways, and I'm like, we gotta do something, you know, and then I got the bill the other day, and I'm like, no, we really need to do something, I mean, $900,
So
and that's just one bill.
who would be the I don't know anybody from the town, so who would be the contact to ask to see if the town would be willing to do it? Means that we are in their town. Does that, I mean, would that make sense or no, Martha? I mean,
It
or should
make
we
a
not
world
have?
of sense to do that if they would plow our snow.
Mhm.
Yeah, cause they got the pickups.
Right.
But are they here like on the weekends to where they could do that?
If it snows, they're here.
They are here, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be a great gesture on their part, considering that they are part of the territory.
Right.
I'd rather see that than us spend money on a snow plow and then all the wear and tear on that rig, and then we're gonna turn around and they're gonna say, well, we tore it up, now we need to spend another $7,000-8,000.
I would suggest approaching the town first, see what the thoughts are, and then actually work midway through the winter. So let's visit this, see what the town's disposition is, then visit this in the spring. If we put a plow on one of our vehicles, I'm not opposed to that.
Right.
Or see what it looks like, instead of making a hasty decision, to put a snowplow on a truck.
Well, my understanding is too, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought the last meeting, Andy, on his truck budget, if you will, wasn't there a new brush figured into that anyhow? I thought it was a tank, I thought a brush was figured into that, and then if you end up
Oh, right.
keeping this old brush for plowing and for a backup brush truck,
That would make some sense
it's a
too.
win-win, because I thought he had a brush on.
I don't remember what
I
he
don't
brought
remember
to the
for sure.
board.
Well, we talked about early fall about replacing the fire engine,
Right.
and that's still on the radar.
I mean,
I would suggest working towards that, approaching the town about plowing snow for us.
agree.
If we could work on that, and then if in the summertime we decide, okay, we're gonna buy another brush truck or something, then we can look at putting in that transaction, putting a snow plow on an existing vehicle.
Sure.
That would make some sense to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't get rid of the brush we have. I mean, there's still a lot of life left in the truck.
Cause, you know, I don't wanna buy a lawnmower when the grass is this tall.
Sure.
Mhm.
I wanna be ready for it for next year, let's say. That's my suggestion.
So again, who do you talk to in the town,
I'd start with the town maintenance guy, cause if he's
which is?
Joe Clady, if he's open the idea, then it would be easy enough to go to the town board. and approach
So
it.
would the president ultimately have that final decision to say, yeah, go ahead and plow?
Well, I would think the whole town would have to approve it.
Yeah, I would think it'd have to go through the town board to be approved, and they are part of the fire territory, and it's a public building, so it's inside who plows the community building? The Lakeville Community Building.
I have no clue. Anybody
If
know?
the town does that, that answers your question,
Yeah, I don't know.
you know, if they would do this.
It's just a thought. And like I said, it's your choice. I just think it's something we need to discuss because,
And we've had a mild snow
mhm.
for that to be $900. And for the timely manner that it's been done, I can see where you're coming from for sure, because I mean, we haven't had any heavy stuff yet, so.
We've had more snow so far this winter than we have in the 2 winters past.
I think we start out 35 inches or something like that.
Mhm. So,
Who knows?
let's get that whole stack.
Thanks. Any other
So there
business?
is a question, there's a Mike that's asking where can they see this information right now? I guess I would have to ask what information are they asking for? I mean, if it's financials, then those would be available, in the office that they could come in and, request. I think we've hit all the totals, they're not responding. But okay, so that is it for me.
Great. Do you have any other business? No? Old business?
I will bring up a little bit of old business. There was a question asked at our last meeting on, what we were doing with the ambulance. At that time, we had received back, we had settled an agreement with Union North Ambulance, so we had received all of our equipment back through that settlement. The men were able to go through that. There were a few items that we just decided, just go ahead, we'll release it. They came back with expired, I mean, it was just a few things. It was minimal. It wasn't worth, arguing with them anymore. So that was finalized like early December. So that ambulance was brought back into the station. With that, when we took that $1 million bond, it specifically stated that that bond is to be used to bring the ambulance service, the EMS service, along with personnel back in. What we have decided to do to appease the DLGF and the State Board of Accounts is to just go ahead and send the ambulance off. We're getting it maintenance, we're getting it serviced, we're getting it wrapped, so that when it comes back to us, there's no identification of the past Union North ambulance. It'll come back as Union Lakeville, I think they're calling it EMS 51. So hopefully we will be getting that back here like in the next month. Now, that does not mean that it's going to be going back into service. Andy could talk more on that, but he was called out on a fire, so he's not here to speak on behalf of the ambulance. But I can tell you right now, we are looking to take it to an advanced level. Meaning that we are BLS non-transport right now. I have spoke with officials from South Bend Fire, and I have just asked them, in what direction do we go? Where should we take our ambulance service? And it has been advised, and Marcel can speak on this, but there's a lot of rumors that come January 1st of 2027, our services at a township level are going to be changed drastically. We are going to possibly lose South Bend Fire as our medic service. That is a contract that the county and South Bend negotiate. That is out of our hands. We as township officials have nothing to say when it comes to them contracting for this medical service. But with that, we have to, do our due diligence and be ahead of the game. So, there's a lot of conversations. I'm trying to get some transparency. I'll be honest, I have reached out to the mayor. I have not gotten any return messages from him. I've not gotten return phone calls from him. I have reached out to our representative, Tony Hazen. We're playing phone tag right now. I did send him an email and just simply asked him, could you just answer my question through an email? I just want to know some transparency. I need to start looking towards 2027. This is an ambulance is not something we can put into service overnight. This is going to take time. Andy would say that yes, we could bring the BLS service back, but it's probably you're looking at probably 3 to 6 months down the road. And that is what we are providing. We are providing a basic life support off the back of these trucks right now. So cost effectively, we are providing the best service out of this department because we have the South Bend medics that are coming in and they are the transport for that patient. But knowing that we could possibly lose that service, we have to be ahead of it. So when I had talked to South Bend's EMS director, he had said, for right now, just get your men at the advanced level, get them trained to advance. So some of our firemen are actually in advanced classes this evening. I mean, we are putting them in that direction. We want that advance. Most most of all the men that we have employed here are EMTs. If they're not, they're very close to being EMTs. So I mean, we just want to be ahead of it, but going to the advanced level, and Ryan could explain that more, there's more that you can offer to it, but just to alleviate, there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of conversation out there because people, oh, they see that the ambulance is sitting out here on the drive, and then it's like, oh, it's back. Well, no, it's just out, we were watching it. Now it is back. We have our equipment. I mean, we are ready. We are ready to take it down once it gets serviced, once it gets wrapped. I mean, once we can identify it as ours, then we are ready to go ahead and pull the trigger and have the state come in and do the inspections on it and then take it to the EMS directors at the county level and get our certifications there. But it's just gonna take some time. So I want to just let the community know that when you hear these conversations, you know, a year ago, we voted it down because we didn't want to take out the money. We didn't want that bond. But then we also hear people that are complaining that we took their ambulance away, you know, from them and they want it back. So there's gonna be a lot of conversation here in the next couple months. The one thing that I think we all can agree as a board is we have brought this service up, very far. We have brought it to a level that we should be very, very proud of. And we do not want it to go backwards. I mean, we cannot afford for this service to go backwards. So.
Well, speaking from someone who was on the volunteer side and now fortunate enough to be on the paid side, what you guys have done is pretty incredible, actually, in a short period of time to bring everybody up to EMT certifications to where I think you've got at least 10, maybe 15 minimum EMTs throughout your entire crew of 20 guys and ladies, to where I believe with volunteer side, we may have had 3 and a couple EMRs. So what you guys have implemented has been incredibly well done. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this may piggyback to help educate the public a little bit too. Marcel, this will be something you can answer. I was reading from some state legislature, as of July 1st, 2025, my understanding is that towns now have to provide an ambulance service to where before they did not. Did I read that correctly or not read that correctly?
We have to provide an ambulance service like Lakeville does?
No, the town.
Your townships, because in the past, they didn't have to provide an ambulance service, only fire, but I'm reading now that they're stating that you have to provide an EMS service. Is that true or
I
not
don't think
true?
that bill passed, so there are a bunch of bills that were proposed for the townships that have not been passed.
Oh, okay, I see.
So it's gonna be interesting. This is a short session right now. There's a couple of bills about townships specifically. So we'll see what is done in March. And we'll know more about what the requirements are. So in a few months, we'll have a better.
Because I'm wondering if that had any effect on not contracting with them possibly in 27, if this bill's gonna pass, or if it already did, that the townships have to provide that.
No, that was my understanding, and I don't know all the details. My understanding is that South Bend got a lot of calls within the city. And so they were questioning whether they can provide service for the county. So they talked to the county and said, hey, look, we don't know if we can continue to do this. The county said, we've got budget constraints of our own. There are no pay raises or anything at the county level this year. So they're looking at taking it out and pushing it back on the townships.
So,
But
if
once
they
again,
get rid of,
there's state law that's been proposed that also would affect that or impact that. So we'll see what happens.
I'm probably thinking too far into this, but if South Bend no longer provides a service, the taxpayers' money, that money is already going to that service for South Bend to come here, will that money go back into the local townships then, or will South Bend still receive that?
Well, so that money goes to the county and the county pays it to the city.
Okay.
So your question is one for the county council and the commissioners. Are they gonna take that money and give it back to the townships, or are they gonna keep it and do something else with it? And I don't know.
Got you.
What you have to understand is who the players are.
Mhm.
And to start from the beginning of the conversation, you need to understand the levels of emergency medical care.
Sure.
There's basic life support, which is what Union North Ambulance Service provided. It's the same exact service that we provide with the fire truck, except we do not provide the transportation aspect of that. Then there is advanced medical care, which you can administer a few more drugs. And you may or may not provide transportation service. Then there is paramedic care, and you can administer more interventions and more cardiac drugs is the basic difference. You may or may not provide transportation service. So you have 3 levels of care, and then the transportation aspect. What we're trying to do here is go from the basic level of care, as Union North Ambulance Service used to provide us, to an intermediate level of care without the transportation aspect. Because when we add the transportation aspect, that takes away our people, because they're going to the hospital and they're gone for, let's say, 2 hours. Realistically, what happens when there's another call for service? We don't have it. We can't cover it. We don't need to worry about that because currently, because we've got South Bend's wheels. They're bringing the wheels to us to take the person to the hospital. So the first step for our community would be to go to an advanced level of care. Let the South Bend medics, which are under contract with the county, to provide transportation, just as they always have. Because nobody will document that the city of South Bend is not gonna provide this service any longer. Nobody's gonna say that out loud. The trick is, and this goes back historically, and people don't remember this as well, South Bend wasn't always the ambulance provider for the county. There were other private entities. McGann's
was a big one.
Used to be Tri-County, right?
No, Tri-County never was.
Really?
St. Joe County EMS was a provider. That business is defunct. Community EMS was a provider at one time. That business is gone. But there are other businesses that came on board to provide this service. And that very well may happen if the city of South Bend doesn't want to do this.
Right.
These are all things that we don't know. But what we do know is that with the tools that we have here, and the people and the disposition of our department currently, we can increase the level of care with the equipment that we have and the people that we have. Why not do that?
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping to do.
Yeah.
We own an ambulance. We have the ability to equip the ambulance. We don't necessarily have the manpower to staff the ambulance and do it properly, but we don't need to yet.
Right.
I'm not saying we want to get rid of that tool, but let's hang on to it and talk about this in a year's time. I think that's a good idea.
I think I agree.
That clarifies all this. St. Joe County, everybody in this room is a taxpayer, owns a little piece of 2 ambulances that the city of South Bend operates. And 3 chase vehicles
Yes,
that they own.
I believe 3.
If you look on the side of the vehicle, they're red, they say South Bend Fire Department, sponsored by St. Joseph County, in small letters. Those all belong to us. So my argument is, if all this comes to fruition, if the fear is true, South Bend's not gonna contract with the county for EMS services, let's do this. Where's that equipment going? If we gotta get in the ambulance service business, I want one of those.
I agree.
Bring it over. We'll take it. We'll have 2. I don't know how we're gonna staff it. We'll worry about that.
Worry about that when it happens.
But now we got the vehicle. We got 2 vehicles. We got one to run or one as a backup.
Mhm.
That's great.
You're right, Ryan. I mean,
It's a start.
Yeah, I mean, because if that one is out and there's another
Emergency.
catastrophe comes up,
Sure.
right? What are we gonna do?
Right.
We're gonna load them in the back of your station wagon?
Right.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's the good old days.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
And to echo what Ryan said, so we have a family member that does ambulance stuff, and we watch Live 360. And there are times where they go down to Memorial, and they're not coming back for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, for a cardiac arrest, and just to piggyback on what he was saying about South Bend coming in here, there's been plenty of times where we as paid staff and as volunteer paid staff, we're either driving the ambulance to South Bend for them, or we're in the back of the ambulance and their driver's driving and we're assisting with CPR. A CPR case, you're every bit of 2 hours, maybe even more.
Well, preface that please by saying you don't transport a cardiac patient until they're stabilized.
Correct.
Your on-scene time is gonna be great.
Oh, very much so.
Common misconception
Very much
in the world is, oh, somebody's having a heart attack and you don't have an ambulance. You don't need an ambulance because you're seldom, if ever, will you do CPR back in an ambulance. Seldom, if ever, in this day and age. You do on occasion if it happens on the road,
It
but
does happen.
seldom, if ever. That ambulance will stop at the side of the road and
Correct.
you'll start
Continue.
CPR.
Correct.
You don't do it in a moving ambulance.
Correct.
So you gotta understand that. But that's a little far-fetched for this conversation. In a nutshell, I think we're on the right track. I really do. I think we're on the right track.
Well, I think this community should applaud what you guys are doing, and I wish more people could see what you are doing within the innards here versus listening to things that aren't facts. And if they had the facts, I think you guys would be way more commended in what you've been.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that just because I've had the opportunity to work here. I'm saying that because I've been on both sides of the fence. And it's gone leap and bounds what you are expecting out of us. You want us to be up here. You want everybody certified, and that's what your community should want.
You're not getting a raise.
I don't need a raise.
Sounds like he's on a soapbox.
Yeah.
No, it's a good thing you guys got going here.
No, but I mean, I do think, like I said, in the upcoming months, there's going to be a lot of conversation, when it comes with the ambulance and the fire side of it. If the county commissioners and the county council and, the mayor do come out and they make this decision, I mean, they will make it by June 30th. The detrimental thing here is that we are in budget season then. So it would be nice if right now we knew that what was gonna be coming so that we could be planning ahead. We are sitting in a good position because we at least have the ambulance. It's just getting now the manpower. If nothing else, because I was talking to some of the men out here, and a lot of even our personnel that we have out here don't just come to us with EMT. They are advanced EMTs on other departments. We have, I
You got
think,
paramedics that work
2
here
or 3
that are on other departments.
paramedics. Now they can't perform at the level of being a paramedic, but they are here. This is a huge asset for this community. So, but we will be talking. And so, I just want to alleviate, because I know there's a lot of conversation out there since we've gotten the ambulance back. We really weren't in a position to talk about it in December because we were still just kind of in the end of the legal dispute. But yeah, if you want to come to some of the upcoming meetings, and that's where it's going to be really important that we get together with the fire territory too, because they're a piece of this and they need to be making decisions on the future of the fire department. So
Carol McDougall says that the Lakeville Community Center pays David Geyer to plow the parking lot. The town does not utilize their snow plows for it.
Okay,
So that would probably be a no.
that would be a no then, yep.
Mhm.
And it could be because of insurance purposes
and it
too.
could be, no, that's fine.
It's very possible, but that's good to know.
I can't read who this other person
She
is.
said if they're not here, you don't need to answer.
Okay,
You have to be present.
all right.
So, the only other old business is just a reminder that we have a food distribution on February 14th. That should be able to accommodate 150 families. It's not just for Lakeville and Union Township. We open it up for all the surrounding townships, and it has been very well used, so. I will answer you, because we're getting ready to adjourn. She had asked what the reestablishment of the cumulative fund was, when we were talking at the very end, what the reestablishment of cumulative fund is. Do you want to explain it to them? Go right ahead. I've done enough talking tonight. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, the cumulative fire fund, is that what you're talking about?
That's the equipment fund.
Yeah, the equipment fund.
Mhm.
The equipment fund is set up by the territory actually, and it's to replace loose equipment, consumables, radios, self-contained breathing apparatus, power equipment, any equipment that's carried on the fire trucks is what the cumulative fund is for. The vehicles themselves, the way the territory was chartered is each entity still owns their vehicle that they brought to the territory. And when it's time, and the township has done this many times, they've replaced their vehicle that was brought to the territory. And that's what the equipment cumulative replacement fund is for replacing the loose equipment, all the equipment that goes on the fire truck as it ages and wears and better things come along. That's what it's for. Or the ambulance,
Right.
whichever.
Mhm.
And I guess that would probably be $1 million question too, is when the territory was formed, it was not formed with an ambulance in it. So would that have to be brought forward?
No, township owns the ambulance.
Right,
We can put it in service.
but if we're gonna put it in service with the territory, that would have to go through the territory then, correct? To
It's not
provide
being
that service?
put in service by the territory. Those funds that we, the way it was explained to me by Steve Dalton was
Okay.
that when we went for that $1 million bond, we did that from the township.
The township's putting in service.
So the township's putting
running it.
the ambulance in service.
Okay,
So I mean,
So they'll be the sole owner of it, and basically.
correct,
sole
'cause
owner.
we are the
Yeah.
sole owners of it. It would just be more of the kind gesture of just letting the territory come to the table and have those discussions.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any other comment? Nope. So our next meeting is February 17th. It's a Tuesday at 5:30. Motion to adjourn.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I have it. We adjourn at 6:22.